The Cranky Geek Fall 2021 show is possible thanks to our sponsors Google, Agora, Daily, Dolby.io, Element, Intel, and Ring Central. See the links in the description for more information.
Hello, and welcome to another Kranky Geek live stream event. I'm Chad, and here with Tsahi. Wave Tsahi. So if you're new here, Kranky Geek is an event series focused on WebRTC and communications-related technologies. We generally feature a half dozen, sometimes more, talks that are about 15 to 20 minutes in length. Our speakers are always experienced industry practitioners that really know their stuff. We make sure of that, and we work with them very closely to maximize the value that you get out of these talks. So we really do miss doing this in person. You can see Tsahi and I have our past, I think we're both 2016 shirts on right now. Yep. You got the Brazil one, I have the San Francisco one. We really do miss doing this in person, but we've made the best of using all the wonders of WebRTC to do this virtually. And in fact, this is our third virtual event, second one this year even. So hopefully you'll notice we're getting a little bit better at this. So moving on, who are we? So you might recognize Tsahi. Tsahi runs a blog called Blog Geek Me. He's also a co-founder of TestRTC. Chris Kranky is behind the scenes in a locked room managing the live stream. We don't ever really seem to let him out anymore, do we, Tsahi?
Nope.
Yeah, no one can pronounce Chris's last name, so we just call him Kranky.
I think it's Kranky.
Yeah, actually, it is Kranky. I forget that stuff, right? So because of that, we just call him Kranky. If you make a portmanteau of Kranky with Tsahi's Blog Geek Me, you get Kranky Geek. And then I'm a WebRTC product manager and editor over at the WebRTC Hacks blog. They suggested that we change our name to Kranky Geek Hacks at some point, but that's obviously going a little bit too far.
Yep.
So if you're watching out there, if you're on social media, please do us a favor, let other people know about the event. It's good content. We want to make sure the world knows about it. And our agenda today looks like this. I won't spend a lot of time on this because you'll be able to go through it. We do have this agenda posted on crankygeek.com, so feel free to go over there, check in on that. We have more information, descriptions on the sessions, details on the speakers. You can see everything there. And a couple, I guess, reminders, update on logistics here. Like this is a live event, right? We're probably going to make some mistakes, hopefully not too severe, but, this is a live stream. We promise to keep this fast-paced and engaging. And in fact, we're adding something new this time. We're doing some trivia questions that Tsahi will talk about towards the end of the intro here. And we do have a scheduled break, but we encourage you to stand up and move around while you're doing the Q&A, the trivia questions, just to keep the blood flowing, right? And as I mentioned, halfway through, we're gonna have a 10-minute scheduled bathroom break you'll be able to take. So don't feel like you need to go. We have that scheduled. And this is, as always, designed to be an interactive session, right? We want you to ask your questions. Use the YouTube chat for that. At the end of each session, we'll try to answer as many questions as we can. Lastly, I need to give the prerequisite, please like and subscribe. It really does help us do more of these. And speaking of making the event possible, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Speaking of making the event possible, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our sponsors, right? Every one of these sponsors is an industry, WebRTC industry veteran. They have a lot of great content to share, and you'll learn a lot more about them throughout the event. Now let's transition over to how is WebRTC doing. And WebRTC adoption reached new heights over the last couple of years. But the sugar high caused by the pandemic is really starting to wind down, right? So here's a couple of slides, graphs from chromestatus.com. Chrome status keeps track of usage of various features in Chrome, including a lot of the different WebRTC options, right? So I pull the get user media and the RTC peer connection set remote description to start. But you can see that the usage of the APIs, peaked unsurprisingly at kind of during the height of the pandemic, and now you see them returning to more normal levels. And I guess the question is this the beginning and the end of WebRTC? What does this all mean? And well, I think the answer is really mixed. So what happens now? The reality is WebRTC has been evolving steadily ever since it started, right? It's never been a static thing. And now, like new technologies like web codecs and web transport, and even things like the insertable streams, breakout box, are starting to break apart WebRTC. Now, some of these specs might not look like the traditional WebRTC spec, but they're helping to advance RTC technology, and it's all on the web. At the same time, the ubiquity of real-time communications and the increased expectations that come with the world's new comfort from being on video calls all day is really forcing us to build better applications. Right? Use of machine learning and AI technologies for audio and video processing. A lot of that stuff's no longer a novelty, right? These are many of these capabilities are now expectations, and the web as a platform needs to provide these things in a performant way. Meanwhile, we get new buzzwords like metaverse is popular now, which are pushing even new use cases and new and harder requirements, right? So with that as context, actually, let me pass it over to Tsahi now to talk about how we're going to cover some of these topics at the event.
Thank you, Chad. So what we decided to do this time is to have a mix of new technologies and new experiments that companies are doing, and best practices of things that are working well and things that we see customers, vendors doing. If you move to the next one, the first part of this event is going to review the new stuff. Daily, we'll talk about the use of Rust for cross-platform development of SDKs and WebRTC. Dolby will talk about WebAssembly audio and how do they use that within WebRTC, which I find really interesting. And Intel are going to talk about web transport and web codec as either replacement or complement to using WebRTC, especially working in front of servers. On the best practices front, what we now have is Agora, which will talk about browser CPU management, a topic that is near and dear to my heart in how you need to manage this, especially in large-scale calls. Metrics, they will discuss end-to-end encryption, but they're going to do that from their point of the market, and that's the place where they sit, which is exactly between signaling and media, something we never really covered. And then Ring Central are going to go and show us the bruises that they have from using Electron and what they've learned throughout the process of using Electron and WebRTC and trying to take it to the extreme. And again, go and subscribe.
Kranky Geek's Fall 2021 WebRTC event is possible thanks to our sponsors. Google and WebRTC.org supporting web real-time communications. Agora, the real-time engagement platform. Daily, build communications into any application. Dolby.io, the API of sight and sound. Element, use the Matrix Open Protocol to support real-time collaboration. Intel, offering a scalable open source media server. And Ring Central, revolutionize your communications with the Ring Central APIs.